If you've ever wondered what it's like to be a real estate investor, well, let me show you an email I just got from a property manager which came in right around midnight. Here's what he said. Some random idiot drove a car into the address of the property a few minutes ago, close to midnight. Police and fire came out. I'm going to send a crew in the AM to board up the property and secure it up, but please call insurance and file a claim. Turns out a random guy who was drunk was driving the car while drunk, and he drove the car into this property. Now, fortunately, nobody was hurt. Nobody in the property who was living there was hurt, and the driver was also not hurt. But somebody's got to deal with this. This is a property that I own. This is a property that people are living in. Tenants are paying rent there. And now this property is destroyed because a random guy got drunk, decided to drive, and drove his car into the property. Now let me explain what this means from a business perspective and what this means from a me perspective. Because from a business perspective, what this means is this property's got to be taken care of. And now you have a tenant that's living in a property that's half destroyed because somebody drove into it. And the person that's living there, a tenant, is not going to want to pay rent on a half-destroyed property. But me as an owner, I own this property. I still got expenses to pay. I still got things to take care of, but I'm also running a business. So I know that no tenant is going to want to pay full price to live in a property that's half-destroyed. So now I have to make the decision. What do I do? So what do we decide to do? To significantly reduce their rents so they can feel more comfortable staying in a property while we now have to renovate it. Then the flip side, somebody's going to have to pay to fix this property, and it's not going to be the drunk driver. So this money's going to have to come out of me. Now, fortunately, I have insurance on this property, and so insurance was writing the check to cover the cost, but I still got to pay the insurance fees every single month. And when you file an insurance claim, you know what happens? Insurance prices go up. But then you also have to think about, well, who's going to take care of the day-to-day? Because my property manager had to figure out what happened through an emergency phone call almost at midnight. Now, I don't manage my properties myself. I hire a property manager for this reason exactly because I don't want to be the person that's getting these calls. I go to sleep before midnight. So I was sleeping when this email came in. I saw it in the morning. But the property manager's job is to take care of these issues. So now, the property manager gets a call close to midnight that something happened at this property. They have no idea what happened. In the morning, they have to call the construction company. They have to call the people to go out to the property, to board it up, to secure it. And now they have to work with the city. They have to work with the construction company. They have to work with the tenant. And they have to work with the insurance company to coordinate everything. Not to mention, I think they also have to work with the police and fire department because, well, there was a drunk driver involved. I'm not really sure what happened with that drunk driver. So this is where now, when you own properties, when you own real estate, things happen. That's a part of business. But you have to make sure that you protect yourself, and sometimes crazy things will happen. And guess what? You as the investor, you as the business owner, you have to figure out how to navigate these situations. Because I could say, you know what, tenant, I'm not going to reduce your rent because I got expenses to pay. I still got to run my business. I still got to run my expenses. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to leave because they don't have a full functioning property to be in. So you have to be a little bit understanding of what is going on from a business perspective. And you want to also make sure you're managing your finances in a way that you have money to put aside. That way, when things like this happen, you can also have some cash to fall back on. That way you don't now start running out of money just because you're not getting rent for a couple months. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because there's a lot of talk on the internet about how real estate investing is a simple and easy way for you to generate cash flow. And I love investing in real estate, and I am a big advocate for it. And I think that you should invest in real estate if that's something that you want to do. I talk about that a lot. I think there's a lot of benefits to real estate. You can get cash flow. You own a hard asset. You get tax breaks. But you got to also understand that you are an operator when you invest in real estate. Let me show you what that means, because if you go out to the stock market and you invest in the Amazon stock and somebody drives their car into an Amazon warehouse, it doesn't really affect you when you invest in the stock because you're not an operator. That affects the operators, that affects the employees, that affects the people that are working inside of the company. When you're just an owner and not an operator, you don't really have to worry so much about the day-to-day stuff. All you got to make sure is the company that I'm invested in a good company and providing me the yields that I want? All you're doing is worrying about the money. But when you are an operator, like you are with real estate, now you have to worry about what's happening on the inside as well. Now, sure, you can hire a property manager, which I highly recommend you do. I don't want to be in the business of managing properties. I want to be in the business of investing in properties and finding more properties and managing the deals that I have, because I have a full-time job. I mean, I run Briefs Media, which is the company that I do, so I already have a full-time job. I don't want to manage the properties. But this is where, if you want to be in the business of investing in real estate, you got to know the difference between investing and managing the properties. Now, even if you're not managing the properties, you still have to do some overseeing. You got to make sure that you have a good property manager. You got to make sure your property manager is paying you. You got to make sure you're not overpaying in fees. You got to make sure that your business is operating properly, but it's semi-passive because your operations now are not dealing with phone calls, talking to the insurance company, talking to the tenant, talking to the contractor. You can pay a property manager to do that. Your job is to understand, here's what's happening. Something happened to this property. These things have to be done. Okay, take care of it. I made one call to the insurance company, and then I told the insurance company, talk to my property manager. I don't know what's going on. I don't want to deal with it. Talk to him. And the thing about investing in real estate is there's always going to be a story. There's always going to be something crazy that happens. And you got to just kind of expect that. In the beginning, it is very tough and is very stressful because you might not have a big cash balance to kind of fall back on. You might not have the mental capacity to deal with the stress. But eventually, when you get punched in the face again and again and again and again, you start to build thicker skin. It might not happen on the first deal, it might not happen on the second deal, but by the third or fourth deal, you're gonna start really developing the thicker skin to deal with things. If you enjoyed this clip and you wanna continue your financial education journey, I have another video that I think you'll love. All you gotta do is click that button right over there. And for those of you who wanna stay up to date on the top finance and business news, you can join Market Briefs, my free financial newsletter, by clicking that button below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.